Greetings petrolheads, welcome back to Automation, the car company tycoon game. Today I'm gonna be showing you the AMW Capricorn, which is an SUV, and it is meant to be like a true competitor for the Range Rover, for the Range Rover Sport. And as such, it needs a couple of different characteristics. It needs to be fast, but also very, very good for off-roading, because that's the one trademark thing that the Range Rover does better than every other SUV in its class. And this is supposed to be, well, I don't know if it's gonna be better off-road, but it's supposed to be like, you know, very, very capable at off-roading. However, you know, I didn't want to settle for like leaf springs or coil springs on the rear, because these would very much compromise its capabilities on the road. And seeing that most people are probably gonna use these things on the road anyway, I think it's the best compromise to go with the multi-ring rear suspension, which is decent off-road, but not as good as a solid axle. It has an AHS steel monocoque. It has partial aluminum panels, so no full aluminum, no fiberglass, and obviously no carbon fiber, which means, given the size of this thing, it's gonna be pretty heavy. So is the Range Rover. It is also permanent all-wheel drive, like the Range Rover. Wow, I didn't realize that these were added to the game. You can actually make a pickup out of this. But yeah, obviously the styling is probably not going to be to everyone's liking, but it is certainly unique. It is different in its own kind of way. Whether people like that or not, especially the rear end, you know, everyone's free to make up their minds about it. I just thought that, you know, we should go and, you know, make this car recognizable, make it stand out from the crowd, because especially rear ends on modern SUVs tend to look pretty much the same across all brands, and therefore we decided to do something different. Engine wise, we have a 5-liter twin turbo V8. The Range Rover Sport obviously has a 5-liter supercharged V8. So given the fact that we don't have superchargers in the game, that's what we're going to be choosing. Good components in here. Then we have VVT on all cams. This is again a 5 valve per cylinder setup, like on all AMW engines. And twin turbocharged, we saw that, running, you know, reasonably low boost. We have 2 straight-through mufflers with a high-flow three-way cat. Straight-through mufflers to keep at least some noise. It's not going to be very loud, but you are going to hear some of that delicious V8 burble. So overall, this, or drivetrain-wise, this has a sequential double-clutch gearbox. It has an electric diff, which is going to be very helpful off-road. Could also go for a manual locker, but that's gonna... It doesn't add that much to the off-road capabilities, but it does compromise a lot of other areas. So I guess that the electric diff is going to be better for us. It also significantly reduces wheel spin and makes the car go quicker on acceleration. I kept the 50-50 power distribution because that's best for off-roading, and seeing that we don't really have much wheel spin anyway, I decided not to mess with it. So we are running 245s all around, and like the car would come with 2 sets of tires, one chunky off-road set that you are seeing the numbers for here, and then one sports tire set with alloy rims, of which you see the results here. And this is also going to make the car faster. But let's run it on off-road tires and steel rims for now, because that's gonna give you a little bit of an idea how good this thing is off-road. And 54.6, that really makes it a very capable off-road indeed. It's gonna, I don't know if it's if 54.6, like what does that really mean in practice? Like, how good is the car really off-road when it has 54.6? Does it get does that mean it's so good that it won't get stuck where a Range Rover would? I don't think that's the case, but you know, for the most part, it should be able to keep up with a Range Rover off-road with this kind of setup. We have an off-road skid tray that's gonna stay on there, also on-road. Excuse me. Okay. And the cooling airflow was too low. We got 5 seats, luxury interior, luxury infotainment, because you would expect that from a Range Rover competitor. And advanced safety, again, to be expected. Launch control too, because this thing is in fact pretty damn powerful. We have active comfort springs and semi-active dampers. These are actually very good off-road. I could also go with like, well, hydro pneumatic would be the other viable option, but even so, despite the fact that this is a very tall vehicle and we're not running like, you know, a very stiff carbon chassis or anything like that, the roll angle is actually pretty solid at 2.6 degrees. Yeah, and I used the comfort preset for the tuning, which actually stiffened the car very much. Like, springs and dampers are a lot stiffer than I would normally set them for a car. But apparently that makes this thing more comfortable. And overall, 43.1 drivability, you might argue that that's actually not that good, but remember that we are running this on off-road tires. Let's now set it to sports tires and alloy rims. Okay, so 45.7 drivability, 35.6 sportiness, 55.8 comfort is good, 47.3 prestige is good, 77.6 safety is very good. Economy is, you know, not fantastic, but also, you know, not surprising on a car of this kind. Obviously, in the real world, you could add stuff like cylinder deactivation, which isn't in the game yet, or other tech that's just not in the game. But yeah, let's see how fast this thing is. .6 quarter mile. That's actually not bad at all. And yeah, one more thing I would like to mention is that, of course, the power distribution is set to 50-50 in the game, but in the real world we have tech that allows us to like have onboard computers that you know, can vary the power distribution as you drive along, or allow you to manually set the power distribution, like when you're going off-road and you're like, okay, I think it's better now to have, you know, a little bit more power to the front wheels, or a little bit more power to the rear wheels, or if you're on a track and you wanna mess around and you set like 80% of the power to the rear wheels, sure. There are technologies in real life that would make that possible, which obviously isn't in the game. Price. Now, I did not mess with the engineering and production kind of tabs, so the price here is too low. I would expect this car to sit roughly at $90,000, maybe $95,000, and for that, I mean, it is supposed to sit at about the same price as the Range Rover Sport. So whatever that costs, you know, this would be in roughly the same price area. I don't know the prices right off the top of my head, like what it would cost in US dollars. But it would of course be quite a bit cheaper than a Porsche Cayenne Turbo S. However, the Cayenne's second, which is the current generation, has lost pretty much all of the off-road going tech that the first generation Cayenne had, as a result making it lighter and more capable on-road, but it's now actually pretty terrible off-road, like most SUVs, most so-called SUVs. I think I've gone over that a couple of times, saying that, you know, people call things SUVs that actually don't match either the S or the U part of the SUV nomenclature. SUV stands for sports utility vehicle, and it's kind of when you say it out, when you actually spell it out like that, a sports utility vehicle, can you really reasonably call like a Volkswagen Tiguan an SUV? No, you can't. Can you call something like a Nissan Juke an SUV? Or, well, I don't want to go into that territory, like define the differences between SUVs and crossovers. I don't understand either of them really, but the point is, those cars are not sporty, and they're not very, like, particularly practical. Sure, the Tiguan, you can say, okay, that's a practical everyday drivable car. Sure, it is. But when it comes to like utility, you can have a pickup truck. You can have something that's actually good off-road, like a Mercedes G-Class or a Land Rover. A BMW X5 is not an SUV. And, like, if we're talking the X5M, then that at least meets the S part of the SUV name, but an X5M is actually terrible off-road. And that goes for a lot of other cars that have this basic body shape, that are tall 4x4 vehicles. They're just actually not, they don't meet the criteria of what SUV stands for. Therefore, I'm pretty much like, well, Volkswagen launched a new SUV. Yeah, an actual SUV. Like, yeah, I don't know where I'm going with this, but anyway, that's a Capricorn, coming in at probably roughly around $95,000, maybe $100,000. Who knows? Well, if anyone's supposed to know, then it's me, right? In any case, hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like or a comment if you did. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.